Hey.
Welcome to Virtual Application Assistance Day. I guess we can do some quick introductions. My name is Liz Vowles. I'm the Artisan and Programs Manager here at Craft Lake City.
My name is Morgana Faye. I am the Artisan and Programs Coordinator. Thanks for joining us.
And welcome Ashley, who's joining us right now. Thanks for coming to the Virtual Application Assistance Day. So this is meant to be just kind of a free-form discussion wherein you can feel free to ask any and all questions about the DIY Fest, about Craft Lake City, our call for entries, the application itself, jurying process, the event, anything you can think of that would be helpful to you to know as you're applying to participate in the DIY Fest. And y'all can feel free to either unmute yourself. You can keep your camera on or off. Whatever you feel comfortable doing, or if you prefer, you can drop your questions in the chat and we can attend to those there. Morgana and I have also prepared a few questions, just some frequently asked questions that we get from people who are new to the event, who will be joining us for the first time. So we can hopefully get everybody's questions answered. So I'm just going to make sure I have the chat open. All right. Maybe we can just start off quickly by talking about what is the DIY Fest? Just in general, what is this event and why do we do it? Morgana, would you like to kick us off with some info there?
Yeah, so the DIY Fest is Utah's largest local centric art, music, science, and technology festival. We're coming into our 15th year this year, which is really exciting. So it's going to be our biggest and best fest yet. We've been hosting the DIY Festival since 2009, and it started as a Slug magazine event, actually. So we are kind of an offshoot of Slug magazine. We're now our own nonprofit. We were totally volunteer run for the first, I think, 7 years, which is really cool. So basically, it's just a celebration of all things DIY. We have a bunch of different areas. We have a STEM building where engineers, tinkerers, businesses related to STEM can exhibit and kind of show off what they're working on, their projects. We have a kids area where families can come and play. There's lots of activities. We have a dogs area. The DIY Festival is like a dog-friendly event where you can bring your well-behaved furry friends, and we have like dog tickets, and there'll be a whole like little dogs area. We have Kid Row, which happens on Saturday of the festival, which is our youth artisan section of the fest. So kids and teens 18 and under can kind of sell their handmade goods. We also have 2 buildings, 3 floors plus outdoors of over 330 artisans. So craft foodies, vintage vendors, anyone who like makes anything DIY, selling and exhibiting their wares. It's a great opportunity to like connect with other creatives in the area. Everyone is local. We have 2 stages of performances, over 50 performers. We have like a headliner on Friday night and then locals throughout the whole weekend. Yeah, it's a fantastic event.
So much cool programming happening in one place. One thing I want to touch on real quick is how you had mentioned that this is, a multi-day event. So the DIY Fest, the exact dates this year is set to take place on Friday, August 11th, Saturday, August 12th, and Sunday, August 13th. One of the most frequently asked questions that we get is, for anybody hoping to apply to be part of this, if they need to be there all 3 days. And the answer is no. We have a couple of different options for participation levels, depending on your preferences and your scheduling. Most of our exhibitors do participate all 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But we do have the flexibility to do just Friday plus Saturday or Sunday only. And Sunday only is, in my mind, a really nice opportunity for people who are maybe more like emerging makers who haven't done a lot of like local markets just yet, because it is, just a 1-day commitment. It's a really great way to become part of the Craft Lake City network without, having this be a whole 3-day endeavor. I just wanted to mention too that like before joining the Craft Lake City team was a DIY Fest exhibitor, both in 2018 and 2019. So I've been there, I've done it. It was incredible. I cannot sing the praises enough for how wonderful the DIY Fest was, just as far as networking, like Morgana was saying, but also just like getting to exhibit my work and make money while doing it too. So yeah, hopefully anybody who has questions can just like know too that like I'm speaking on behalf of like somebody who has participated in that capacity. But yes, anyways, going back to the dates, we do have some flexibility there. If you're filling out the application, that is kind of in the middle of the app where you can specify how many days you want to be there, which days, and if you have any flexibility around how many days you're going to be taking part. I will mention, so the Kid Row feature, that is just on Saturday of the fest. So the Youth Artisan pop-up, it is a shorter program, just because, you know, it's a pretty big moment for kids and we want to ease them in to the experience. So that's a 4-hour block on Saturday of the festival. Friday is a half day. We open gates at 5 p.m. and go till 10. And Friday, what's really special about that is we bring in a festival headliner on our performer lineup. So that is top secret information. We'll be announcing it closer to the event date, but we're going to be having some really, really wonderful performances all weekend long. But Friday night is going to be like our biggest headlining performer. We also do our VIP section on Friday, which is like a premier festival going opportunity. It is a premium ticket price, but that is really, really nice as well. So that's going to be taking place on Friday. Saturday is our long day, 12 to 8 p.m. is when we do the event. And then we do 12 to 6 p.m. on Sunday. Yeah. And again, for anybody just joining us or tuning in, you can feel free to drop questions in the chat at any time, or you're welcome to unmute yourself if you'd like to talk out loud. But yeah, I guess looking at some of our other frequently asked questions, call for entries, when does it go until? Morgana, do you want to maybe speak towards some of the deadlines that we have and how that plays into scholarships as well?
Yeah, definitely. So Liz mentioned scholarships. So to just kind of give a little bit of background info on our inclusion programming. So we have been running scholarship options at the DIY Fest since 2017. These are really awesome scholarships. The scholarship and mentor program. So basically, not only does it include waived booth fees for your participation, but it also includes pairing you up with a one-on-one mentor, someone who has been exhibiting at the DIY Fest for a while. So somebody who knows the ropes and can give you all their tips and tricks. We also have like group training with the whole cohort of scholars. And we have, basically, we'll just kind of walk you through some things that you need to know: customer service, designing your booth, all that good stuff to get you prepped for the DIY festival. And then on site, you also have your mentor support before, during, and after the festival for any questions that you have. So it's a really, really fun opportunity to apply for these scholarships. And they close at the same time as our regular call for entries, which is on April 6th of this year. So April 6th, 2023, we have our regular DIY Fest applications clothing, as well as our scholarship applications clothing. And you can find all that information on our website, craftlakecity.com. And yeah, so essentially, if you would like to apply for a scholarship, you have to complete the general application and a short supplemental application for the scholarship. We will announce exhibitors on May 4th. So we have, basically, to give a little bit more info on how we decide who will be participating. Each year we have a panel of anonymous jurors from the community. So third-party jurors. Craft Lake City doesn't do the jurying ourselves. We always outsource it to different folks every year to kind of mix up the lineup and make sure we're being impartial. We have a panel of third-party jurors go through the applications and score the applications. And then we have kind of final deliberations and then send out acceptance emails on the 4th. So yeah, between April 6th and May 4th, that's kind of the process we have going on during that period.
Yeah, one question that we get pretty frequently too is our applications juried and our acceptances sent on a rolling basis, or do we wait until we have everybody's applications in? And it is the latter. So we are accepting applications until April 6th, and not until that date do we look at those applications and send them out to our jury for review. So you've still got some time. We've got a few weeks, but the sooner the better as far as getting your application in. That way, if you have any questions along the way, you can always reach out to our team and get some specialized assistance. We also have a limited number of application fee waivers available. This is part of our DIY Fest inclusion plan. But for folks for whom the application fee poses a barrier, we do have a certain amount of grant money and donation money set aside specifically to cover a limited number of those application fees for people. And those are based on need, but also on a first come, first serve basis. So effectively, if you're wanting to apply for the DIY Fest, but the application fee is posing a barrier to you, we would encourage you to get your application done as soon as possible. And you can email our team. Our email is artisancoordinator@craftlakecity.com. And that way, just sending us a brief statement of need, that way we can help get your application fee covered while we still have the availability to do so. And Morgana has posted that in the chat for everybody. This information is also available on the landing page of our application. So if you're logging on to start your application, we've got that all there for you, as well as the link to find more information about our scholarships. And just to kind of expand on that a little bit, as far as what we have to offer this year, Craft Lake City is always looking to expand our scholarship options so that we can support an increasingly greater number of people each year for our events. Right now we have what's called our Artisan Scholarship, which is applicable to first-time DIY Fest exhibitors in the artisan, vintage, and craft food categories. We also offer our LGBTQ+ scholarship. This is for a local maker who identifies as being part of the LGBTQ+ community. And then we have one called the Art Ability Scholarship, which is made possible in partnership with the Utah Developmental Disabilities Council. And this scholarship supports people with disabilities who would like to use their passion and skills and talents to build a small business. So a handful of options there. We're consistently looking at expanding those. We do also offer a limited number of STEM scholarships and Kid Row scholarships as well. And more information about that can be found on our website. I'm thinking now might be a good time to just screen share and show kind of what the website looks like and how you might navigate to where you need to be in order to apply to the DIY Fest. So let me see if I can get my screen going. I guess while we do that, we can look at another question. So Morgana, you did touch on this a bit already, but could you kind of go over what types of makers we're looking to feature at our events? The different categories?
Yeah, that is a great question. So if you go to our website, you can see kind of a breakdown of the different categories that we're accepting. There are very few kind of eligibility guidelines. The biggest one is that we just feature local makers. So people who are residents of Utah and spend at least or over half the year living in Utah. So people kind of have a hybrid where they travel during the summer or something, that's totally fine. But primary residence in Utah is kind of the biggest eligibility requirement. And then from there, we accept all kinds of makers who basically do anything DIY. So if you make anything yourself, whether that is illustrating your own designs and printing those on t-shirts or stickers, we get that question a lot. Like if it's my own art, but it's kind of, I use an outside printer, does that count? Definitely, we love to see that. People who make pottery, people who make handmade clothing, handmade dolls. We have kind of a whole slew of categories that we accept, but we're always looking for people with really creative techniques, really creative artwork, people who have made something that maybe we haven't seen before. But to give you kind of a breakdown of the different categories that we accept. We have accessories, apparel, artwork. So that's going to be like any 2D stuff, photography, printmaking, painting, digital art, baby and child products. So if you make toys, children's clothing, we love to see that. Bath, body, and apothecary. So we have tons of soap makers in our network, people who make
candles, room sprays.
Candles, yeah. Skincare stuff, ceramics, collectives can apply. So if you're kind of a micro business that represent a group of local artists united under a common goal or initiative, you can apply as a collective and share a booth that way. Embroidery and fiber arts, home decor and housewares. We also accept mission-driven folks to table at our events, so local nonprofits and organizations who are like interested in sharing their mission with our audience. Jewelry of all kinds, whether it's clay, metal, wire, pet products. So this could be dog toys, dog treats, stationery, paper goods, maybe you make journals, maybe you do bookbinding, sculpture, vintage and reworked goods. So this is curated vintage clothing, furniture, accessories, and home goods that are in the 90s or Y2K style or earlier, including handmade goods incorporating older and upcycled materials. And then we also looked at world markets. So what this means is basically a micro business that is owned and operated by creatives located in Utah who collaborate with makers outside of the country. So this could apply to new Americans who work with artisans to make stuff back in their home countries, or individuals involved in humanitarian or nonprofit efforts related to creative business growth. So that is the world market category.
Yes, such a big umbrella of different types of artisans that we're looking for at the event. And if you're ever unsure about whether your product or your handmade goods are a fit, you can always feel free to email our team in advance, and we're happy to give those a look. Just to kind of expand a little bit on some of the other exhibitor categories that we have two subcategories for food vendors. Craft food encompasses people who are making pre-packaged goods for consumption either in the moment or later off-site. So these are folks who prepare their items in a commercial kitchen off-site and bring them packaged to sell at the festival. So these are things like hot sauces, jellies, jams, candy, maybe even pastries or baked goods that are pre-wrapped. And then we also have our commercial foodies. These are people who bring either a food truck or a food tent, and they are making meals or beverages on site for immediate consumption. So yeah, people who are feeding the masses at the festival, whether that's food or beverage wise. Our STEM exhibitor category is really cool. This applies to all sorts of different people who have to do with STEM. So thinking about like DIY scientists, tinkerers, even like university clubs and outreach organizations in the STEM fields, things like that. Lots and lots of opportunities to exhibit your STEM prototype or sell your STEM products, or even just share your STEM related mission with the Craft Lake City audience. Our performer category applies to all types of performances, whether that's a solo artist, a band, dance troupe, cheer squad, even like multicultural organizations, and buskers and street performers too. So a lot of opportunities to perform at the festival. And then Kid Row, you touched on this a little bit briefly, Morgana. Do you mind kind of talking a little bit more about the eligibility for Kid Row?
Yeah, so very similar. We accept all kinds of makers, kids who really do anything themselves. It'll be in the like pottery, we do craft food, 2D art. So essentially the eligibility requirements here are, again, Utah residents, and then anyone 18 or under. So this is kind of expanded from last year. We have previously done 14 and under, but wanted to include teens and get high school kids involved in Kid Row and get them creating and connecting with other creative kids. So we are doing 18 and under this year. And this is a Saturday only program that happens kind of in the afternoons on Saturdays. So it's a really easy lift for the parents, for the kids. And it's just so much fun. It's kind of outdoors in this tented area. All the kids are together. And yeah, it's really great to see the creativity that they have. So 18 and under and Utah residents.
Yeah, and we are also able to accommodate school groups. So let's say that you're part of an after-school program, or maybe you're a guidance counselor at a school, or maybe even you have a few kids who are interested in exhibiting together as kind of like a collective or a group. We are totally open to accommodating groups. So feel free to fill out an application and contact our team if you have further questions about this. Yeah, so lots of exhibitors featured over the 3-day event. I am going to share my screen now. I figured out how to do it. So we can take a look at the application just very briefly. Not so much the application, I guess, more so just the website and how you would navigate to where you need to be to fill out your application. So this is craftlakecity.com. This is our landing page. From here, there's a couple ways that you can navigate to the application. We have a section right here at the very top talking about the DIY Fest. We have a video with some footage from previous year's events. And if you hit learn more, this is going to take you to our DIY Fest page. This has all the information that you will probably need in order to get ready to submit your application. So we have info about the event, important dates that we went over, including the call for entries closure, and then our announcement dates. And then the event itself, those 3 days and hours. And then this is the button you're going to hit to navigate to the application. But before we do that, just scrolling down a little bit, we have a section here that shows you the different rules for the different participation types at the fest. So maybe you're a STEM exhibitor and you're just curious about kind of the specifics that pertain to being part of the STEM lineup. This is going to give you those details. Same goes for all of our other exhibitor types. And then if we scroll down a little bit more, this will take you to a page where you can preview our past festival lineups and get more information about the dates and times and event specs for each of our past years, since we do have varying programming over the years. And then we have some FAQ here, which is a lot of the stuff that we're going over today. If you hit the plus icon next to each of these questions, they will expand and show you the answers to some of our most frequently asked questions, oftentimes with links that will take you to an additional page with more details. We also have a full exhibitor FAQ, which is available here. Sponsorship inquiries, if you're interested in becoming a sponsor, whether that's with a table at the event or just a presenting sponsor in some capacity for one of our festival areas, you can message us here to get more information. And then our newsletter, in case you aren't already subscribed, this is a really great way to just stay up to date on all of the programming that we offer throughout the year. So scrolling back up, we can hit the apply now button, and this is going to take us to the application itself. A couple of things to note here. So as highlighted in yellow, if you have participated in or applied for a Craft Lake City event in the past, you will need to create a new account for your DIY Fest 2023 application. And the reason for this is just that each year we would like to see new products and updated bios for our applicants, and for those who are accepted exhibitors for the event. That information is going to be posted directly to our website. So this just ensures that, you know, by doing a fresh application for this year, that we have the most up-to-date information for you, including your product lineup, your bio, and then all of your social media handles as well. So you would start your application here at this green button. If you have already started an application for this year but need to log in to finish it, you're going to use this section on the right with the blue button. You can reset your password if you forgot it, or you can just email our team and we can help you reset it. We have the Artisan coordinator at craftlakecity.com email address here for any questions or comments. We also have our office phone number available. And then, as we talked about already a little bit, are many, many scholarship opportunities. You can learn more about those at this link right here. Since those have, different qualifications for each one, we just have this external link that you can visit to learn more about your scholarship opportunities. And like Morgana said, if you are interested in one of these scholarships, you will need to submit 2 different applications for this event. So the one that we're on right now, this is the general DIY Fest application. You need to make sure that you fill this out as well as any of the supplementary scholarship applications. And then additionally, here we have our prospectus, our exhibitor prospectus. This is just all the rules and regulations broken down by category, and you can sort based on what your exhibitor type is. So navigating back to our landing page for DIY Fest. I just wanted to show you here on this webpage some other ways that you can find this supplementary info on our website. So this menu at the top of the site, you can pull up the drop down for DIY Fest. This will take you to the page we're on right now. We have our exhibitor rules. The inclusion page, this has all the details about scholarships as well as application fee waivers and other inclusion initiatives, our past festivals, and then our scholarship specific page on here as well. And then if you're on our homepage or any page of our site, you can use what we call our hamburger menu here on the far right-hand side up at the top, and this will pull up a whole host of pages. So this one right here, DIY Fest 2023, will take you to where you need to be. So that's a little debrief of our website. And again, anyone in attendance, if you have additional questions, you can feel free to drop them in the chat or unmute anytime. We're happy to answer those questions. Let's see, how about, Morgana, here's a question we get asked a lot. Are people placed indoors or outdoors for the festival? How does that work?
Yeah, so the cool thing about our venue, the Fair Park, is it allows us to do kind of a hybrid model of indoor and outdoor. So we have 2 big buildings, the Dreamers building, which is our largest building, and it has 2 floors of indoor artisans. Can indicate what your preference would be, or if you don't have any preference. There are like awesome advantages to both being indoors and outdoors. The outdoors is more of like a festival environment. You really get the atmosphere with the stages, the kids area, kind of all the like hubbub and bustle of the outdoor event. The indoor is a little bit cooler, so it can be good for if you have heat sensitive products. It also means you're kind of bundled up with a bunch of other artisans, which can be really fun. For our STEM exhibitors, we also have an indoor and an outdoor option. And then Kid Row happens outdoors, kind of near our stages, which is really fun. So when you're completing your application, you can select if you have preference for indoors, if you have preference for outdoors, if you don't really care which one you want to go with. We also have an option for something called special placement, which you can pay an additional fee to get kind of an exact spot. So if you want to be like right next to your best friend, you can opt for special placement and pay that additional fee. But yeah, we have like a bunch of different space sizes as well. We have 5 by 10, 10 by 10, and 20 by 10.
Just to expand a little bit more on special placement. So these are pretty limited. We're only able to accommodate a handful of these premium requests, but part of that is that you would actually get to visit the event venue in advance with a Craft Lake City Teamster to talk about the layout of the festival and get a sense of what's going to be going on and where to determine what placement you would like to go with. for whatever reasons that you would like. So yeah, it's a very nice like one-on-one consultation to help you arrive at exactly the placement that you desire to be at for the festival.
Another question that we get a lot about placement is, can I share a booth with a friend or a relative who is also a maker? We do have an option for this. You can select this in your application. These are 10 by 10 spaces. So they're reserved just for the 10 by 10 spaces. So you basically have half of that space, and then the other half you would share with your partner. And you could just indicate in the application who you're interested in sharing a space with. The fee is a little bit cheaper and you get split it between the two of you. So it's a great option if it's your first festival and you want to have like a buddy there with you and kind of have like a shared experience and do the festival together. So you can apply for that when you are filling out your application.
Yeah, I'd like to talk briefly too about exhibitor fees. So as Morgana mentioned, we have a number of different space size options at the DIY Fest, depending on what would work best for your products or your setup. And we get this question a lot, kind of what the fees are and what those kind of go towards. So I'm not going to go through every single one, but I'll just kind of name off some of the more like popular space size options and kind of what those run. This year, what we did is we have included a parking pass as part of the exhibitor fees, just because this is an area that has been, kind of challenging for some exhibitors in years past, kind of navigating the parking system and having to set up your booth and leave to go get a parking pass each of those days. So in order to eliminate a lot of the confusion and the time, we have included the parking pass as part of the exhibitor fees, just to streamline things and make it really nice and easy for everybody. So we offer, again, a lot of different space sizes, and the fees do vary a little bit, whether you're going to be there 3 days, 2 days, or just the Sunday. But our standard is going to be the 3-day participation. Some of the more popular space size options, we have our 5 by 10, which is like a table size space, enough room for a backdrop, and then a little bit of area to kind of walk in between. This is $269 for the 3-day participation. We also have 10 by 10 spaces. So this is like kind of your standard tent size space, whether you're outdoors in an actual tent or you're indoors in just those dimensions. This runs $369 for the 3-day participation. We do also, as Morgana mentioned, offer a shared 10 by 10. This is $274.50 per exhibitor. And then looking at Sunday only participation, those rates start as low as $119, including your parking pass. So we have a lot of options. We have some premium spaces if you need like a 20 by 10 for a lot of inventory, and collective space rates as well. These are inside your application about midway through that you'll specify how much space you need and if you have any flexibility in that area as well. And then as far as what the fees go towards, this is a really, really huge scale event. Craft Lake City is actually a 501c3 nonprofit organization. So we put these fees towards things like renting, our stages and our bleachers for the event, the cost of putting on the event, renting out the space, marketing the event, paying our Teamsters to help promote, and just all the sort of administrative costs associated with putting on a show this large. So yeah, just a little bit of information there. I guess let's talk about Application Assistance Day. So we are doing our virtual Application Assistance Day right now, but we have some resources available on our website to kind of go more in depth about the application process itself. And then we also have an in-person event coming up soon. Morgana, can you talk briefly about our in-person Application Assistance Day?
Yeah, so one of the really cool things about our in-person Application Assistance Day is we offer professional photography services. So if you have products that you want to include in your application, but you don't have great photos of them, we can totally help you out. So that is coming up on the, double check the date real fast. So it's going to be the week after next, the Tuesday. It's going to be Tuesday, March 28th. And you can register for that on our website. We can drop the link in chat. But yeah, it's basically just a really great opportunity to ask any questions you have. If people don't have access to your computer, we can help you fill out your application on site right then and there. And then we'll also pair you up with a photographer to get up to 5 products photographed. So the reason that we do 5 products is because that is how many photos we need in the application. So it'll set you up to have everything you need to complete the application. And those are yours to keep. The event is totally free. Anybody can sign up and you can use those for future applications, your website, anything that you like. And this year we are doing the event at the Utah Developmental Disabilities Council office in Murray. And as Liz kind of briefly mentioned earlier, we have a scholarship with them this year that we're partnering with them to offer the Art Ability Scholarship. So you can also come if you have any questions about that scholarship or any of the other scholarships we offer. So I'll pop that registration link in the chat right now.
Awesome. Thank you, Morgana. Yeah, in-person application assistance day is a really great opportunity to just like get to know our team better, learn all about the event, get all your questions answered, get hands-on help with your application if you'd like, but most especially having your products photographed professionally is really, really cool. I do want to talk a little bit about the jurying process a bit, just because we haven't really gone through exactly like technically how that works and what parts of your application are actually being juried. So as Morgana mentioned, we do bring in a rotating jury every single time we host an event. These are third-party entities to prevent bias and to help keep our lineup interesting each time. But the jurors don't see every single part of your application. The portal that we have built for them only showcases a few pieces of information. So we have your 5 product photos. This is the most important part, which is why we offer the in-person application assistance day and then the resources online to help you take really good photos of your work. The pictures are going to speak the most highly towards your offerings and weigh the most heavily in the decision that our jurors are making. So they say your 5 product photos, you provide a title for each of those products, as well as a description of just the materials used, and then the retail price of each of those items. This varies a little bit for like performers, for example. Performers will still submit photos, but instead of a product, it's just pictures of the band or the singer or whoever it is, you know, pictures of past shows that you've done. And then like samples of songs, as opposed to, you know, the product-centric questions. But speaking towards our biggest categories, so artisans and craft food and commercial food, yeah, it is really those photos that are super crucial in your application. So essentially, the jurors are only seeing those pictures and the descriptions of those products themselves. They're not seeing your business name, any of your contact information, your social media. They're also not seeing any of like your demographic information or your contact information. So that's just a little bit of detail there as to kind of how the apps are reviewed and processed. And another question that we get frequently is kind of like, what advice do we have for first-time exhibitors? So people who've never done DIY Fest before, maybe they've done local markets, but on a smaller scale. What is just some advice that we have in order to prepare for an event like this? Morgana, you want to take a first stab at this question?
Yeah, so I think the biggest one is apply for one of our scholarships. Our mentoring program is awesome, and it really sets you up for a fantastic first event. Another piece of advice, if you know anyone who's participated in the DIY Fest, hit them up, like ask how it went, ask if they have any tips and tricks. It is like such a fun event, and there are a lot of makers locally who have been participating for many years. Some other pieces of advice, your inventory is going to be a big one. So this is basically just like how much stock you have for the festival. So whether you're participating 2 days, 3 days, 1 day, you'll have to just kind of guesstimate how much you need. And it's better to overestimate. But if you do run out of stock at the event, have something as a backup, like have business cards, have stickers, have a form for like custom orders. Another big piece of advice, just like make sure you're taking care of yourself. Make sure, make sure you are getting lots of sleep the night before, sleeping as much as you can between days. Make sure you're bringing snacks, lots of water, checking in with yourself. Also, we provide some complimentary tickets so that you can bring assistance and have plenty of help during the event. So make sure you pass those out, use those, get your loved ones and friends on board to come and give you breaks. It'll be super, super valuable. So you can get some food, so you can walk around and check out the other artists. Yeah, how about you, Liz? I know you participated before. So what are some of your tips and tricks from the exhibitor side?
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit on some of the biggest ones, like really just over preparing for the event is huge. I remember that being a pretty like notable source of unsureness, both times that I did it, right? Like, how much do I expect to sell? How much range do I want to present in my products? And I would say that over preparing is always going to be the win, just because you can always have backstock if absolutely necessary, but I think it's just really helpful to have more than you think you're going to need, because you never know like how much you're going to sell. Even just like having plenty of duplicates of things can be helpful too. I mean, I know that some exhibitors really specialize in one of a kinds and originals, which is awesome. But if you have certain types of products that you think are going to do well, just making sure that you have like a good stock of each of those so that you can sell multiples. One other thing, like pricing your items. So this can be really tricky. It is a very personal decision, but I would highly encourage exhibitors to look at offering a range of prices, because festival shoppers have varying tastes and kind of shopping patterns. Not everybody is going to be spending the same amount, but generally speaking, at this type of event, people who offer like smaller items or maybe like prints of their work, if it's artwork, generally like the $35 and under category, those types of items tend to do really well. Again, this is really personal and very, very individual to each person, but making sure that you encompass a range of pricing options. So, for me, I do embroidery, hand embroidery, and that can get expensive quickly because it is a very time consuming medium. But preparing for this event, I did focus a lot on making many pieces that were ranged in that like $25 to $45 zone, to accompany some of the bigger, more time consuming things that are, $60, $80, $100, $150. And it was interesting to see people do really spend across the board, lots of kind of denominations and amounts. So yeah, just thinking about a range of consumers and shopping patterns when you're preparing your inventory and making sure to include some options for people who maybe only have $10 with them, but they really want to show their support. Maybe that's just like, you have some stickers or you have some small prints or just some really small merchandise to offer. And then, yeah, having a way to capture people's contact information for things like custom orders, or if you have a newsletter or social media account, maybe putting out a clipboard so you can have people sign up there, or providing even some incentive for people to follow you on social media is really nice too. Yeah, those are just a couple of things to come to mind. Oh, and another big one, check your emails regularly. If you are an accepted exhibitor for the DIY Fest, we take a lot of time and effort to put together helpful reminders and tools to get you prepped for the event. So be sure to check your emails and read them thoroughly. We do our best to keep this information concise, but there is a lot to know in getting ready for an event this big. So yeah, definitely be sure to keep on top of your emails from us. Yeah. Did you have anything else to add on that point, Morgana?
Yeah, we last year actually put together a really awesome resource called How to Have a Successful DIY Fest Experience, which you can find on our website. And this kind of goes through like just a ton of tips and tricks we've learned over years and years of doing this for yeah, having a great first festival. So customer service tips, how to be a good neighbor to your booth neighbors, some tips for taking care of your body. We really emphasize focusing on the qualitative experience instead of just like having a sales goal. And like, if you don't meet that exactly, then it's a big bummer. Like there's so many things that are just amazing about the DIY festival. And amazing opportunities to connect with people who are going to be lifelong patrons of your business. So really focus on that, focus on the in-person connections. Like that is what having an event like this offers that online shopping doesn't, which I think is really cool. So yeah, build those relationships. I'll pop that in the chat, but you can also find that on our website. It's just craftlakecity.com/how to have a successful DIY fest experience. With
Yeah, I'm really glad that you
mentioned.
mentioned that, because I feel like that segues nicely into the last question that I have here, which is, what is your favorite thing about the DIY Fest? And as for me, you know, as somebody who's experienced it from both sides, administrative and participant side, the connections that you can make while exhibiting at DIY Fest, there really is no way to adequately sum that up, like how warm and fuzzy that is, and how like lucrative those can be. And again, even if you're not really focusing on your sales goals, just like making all sorts of new friends, other exhibitors, like networking with them and becoming friends with your booth neighbors, going around and just talking to other people who are selling their wares throughout the festival. It's just like so many people with shared values and so many skills all in one place. And so it's just really energizing and wonderful to get to experience that and meet all these people. As far as like customer connections go, this is something that I've experienced that like still blows me away to think about, but you can maybe not even have a conversation with somebody at the festival. Maybe they just pick up your business card or they take a picture of your social media handle and have them message you days, weeks, months, years down the line for a custom order or a corporate commission, just because they saw you at the DIY festival. Or maybe they're, you know, oh, I forgot to write this person's name down, but I saw them at the fest and thought they were cool. You're up on our website, your participant profile is up there. People can find you and contact you after the fact, even years after, to get in touch with you for whatever purposes. So that is really, really cool to see. Yeah, those are some of my favorite things about the DIY Fest. What about you, Morgana?
Yeah, I think just kind of echoing Liz, like the vibe, the atmosphere is really just incredibly rewarding, incredibly warm. We've had a lot of exhibitors say it feels like summer camp, where they're just like coming back year after year, seeing all their friends again, who maybe they just see at the festival. And yeah, the kind of it gives artists a really amazing platform to connect with such a huge audience. Like another question we get asked a lot is kind of how many people participate and how many people attend. So we have about 330 artisans. On top of that, we have our STEM exhibitors, our Kid Row exhibitors, our performers. So you're really connecting with like the most amazing creatives in Utah. Just like generating ideas, generating inspiration, generating connections for future projects. And then over the 3-day weekend, we have about 15,000 to 20,000 attendees. So it's a huge amount of local customers who you can have an opportunity to connect with, and yeah, who can just become like lifelong patrons. And it's a really amazing opportunity for connection with the maker community.
Fantastic. Well, I think we are probably due to wrap up here. This recording will be available on our website. So anyone tuning in after the fact, hello, thank you for watching. If you have additional questions, you can always reach us at artisancoordinator@craftlakecity.com. Again, quick reminder, the DIY Fest 2023, the 15th annual Craft Lake City DIY Festival presented by Harmons. Applications are due on April 6th. 2023 at 11:59 p.m. MST. We encourage you to get your applications done sooner if possible, especially if you're interested in also applying for a scholarship or an application fee waiver. And yeah, thank you for tuning in. We hope to see you at the DIY Fest.
Thanks so much.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.